This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'd like to be joined by Joseph Parker here in Manchester. Joe, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
It's good to hear now. We just had the press conference. Yourself and Derek Chisora are going to be going at it once again December 18th. I just want to start with the face-off. I saw Derek had plenty to say to you there. Can you fill us in on what was going on?
Listen, he's just his normal self, telling jokes. You know, what did he say? He goes, "Don't worry, boy. You need to look. You don't have to look tough." And he's just, he's looking around and cracking jokes, and he's just Derek being himself, really.
What did you make of him making a point? He said he didn't want Robert Smith or the board to be involved, and he wanted an American referee and a judge. Is that just him putting a bit of pressure on Eddie?
No, listen, Derek has his own opinion on things. Everyone has an opinion, and he feels that the judges and the referee wasn't the best on the 1st of May. I feel they did a great job, and I feel I won the fight. Yeah, I watched it back and I feel I won the fight, but it was close. It was a close fight, and he's a very tough man, and that's the reason why we're here again, doing it again, because it was close.
For all this talk of Derek wanting a more conclusive win this time around, I'm sure you want exactly the same. You said you felt you won the fight. I just spoke to Andy, and he said when he watched it back, he felt you won the fight as well. But are you looking for a knockout this time?
Every fighter looks for a knockout. I just want to be more dominant and more conclusive. A better win. That's what I need. And I want to be involved in exciting fights, and he brings what it takes to make it an exciting fight: pressure and a lot of punches.
How much more excited does it make you to know that the crowd's going to be there this time, behind closed doors last time, bit of an eerie atmosphere? This time there's going to be thousands of people. You fought in Manchester before, you must be really excited for that.
Listen, I'm very excited because the times that I have fought in the UK, the crowd's different here. They all come out to support. They all come out, and you hear the cheers, you hear the chants. It's just everyone gets behind the fighters and the event, and it's a lot better. I've fought in front of no crowd, and it's a lot better fighting in front of a crowd.
With yourself and Andy Lee, first time round you only had about 5 weeks to get to know each other and work with each other. Andy said to me it's pretty much a handshake, and then we didn't really have time to implement anything. This time round you've had a lot more time. How much more do you think you've had to how much more do you think you've developed this time?
With the first fight, having only 5 weeks was to meet him, then to gel, then to get over jet lagged, then to work together, then fighting Derek Chisora, a tough man. He just keeps coming forward with a lot of pressure, throwing everything he has. I think we didn't have the longest time together, but now that the fight is done and going back to New Zealand and knowing what Andy wanted me to work on, working on that back in New Zealand, now that we're here, longer time together, I feel it's better for us as a team, to implement the things and to keep practicing on the things that we've been working on. And, I'm looking forward to the sparring phase of camp, showing Andy that I am working on these things and that I can show it in action, and then translating that into fight night.
Last time round, Derek came out the blocks flying and caught you a little bit off guard, put down in 7 seconds. You got back up and got back in the fight there. How important is it to be super switched on from the first bell this time?
It's very important to be switched on from the first bell, every second of every round. And again, that's another thing to work on, being switched on for the whole time and not having any lapses and not, looking here, looking there, thinking about something else, just being present.
Joe, one thing I wanted to ask you about, you're away from your family so much, you come over here and you train away in Morecambe, and you've had so many of these big nights now. How hard is it to be away from your family, and what keeps you going at this point?
It gets harder each time, as the kids grow and I'll get older and older, it's a lot harder to leave the family, to leave my wife, leave my kids, but it's the sacrifices that we need to make in order to be where we want to be, and I know there's other fighters out there that do the same thing and go through the same thing, so you got to give respect to everyone that makes sacrifices, to get what they want in life.
Is it a case of wanting to leave the sport with no regrets eventually? Does that kind of keep you going, and the fact you're supporting the family as well?
I don't want to leave the sport and have regrets. What about if I moved here? What about if I trained here? What about if I did this? What about if I did that? I just want to give it everything I have while I'm still young, while I'm still fresh, and leave the sport knowing that I gave it everything I have. And that's when you do that, then you can be happy with yourself.
I'm sure being surrounded in the gym by good people you get on with helps a lot. I've seen the videos of Tyson being back in now, Tommy Fury's in, Jay Quigley preparing for a world title fight. What's the atmosphere like in there right now?
It's a great camp to be in, a great atmosphere, great environment. You have myself, Andy Lee, you have David Naika, then you have Jason Quigley, Isaac Loeb, you have Tommy, you have Tyson, you have Johnny Ward, and you have the people that Christian, people that does our weights and the people that come in and out, and it's just a great team. Pushing each other, helping each other, and we all know that we all have big fights coming up, and that's when you look over to the other side and see someone training hard, you want to cheer them on, they cheer us on. It's a great environment to be in.
Tyson knows yourself very well. He also knows Derek very well. Have you two spoken about this fight at all?
Myself and Tyson? Yeah. I mean, Tyson fought Derek twice, and so he's very familiar with Derek and the style that he brings. I feel like Derek's gone better over time. I know with just backing himself and putting on the pressure, throwing punches, more punches than from the fights that I've seen in the past. But Andy's come up with a good game plan. That we know will work with what Derek's going to bring.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of the heavyweight fights. Firstly, Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua are expecting spring 2022. They will get it on again. I just want to ask if you see repeat or revenge, Joe.
It's hard to say. I mean, Joshua's gone to look for a new coach. It probably was a hard decision to leave his old coach. I've been through the same thing, very hard decision. But you never know, with other coaches and what they're going to teach you and what they're going to bring. It might be a positive thing. At the moment, I see it as a repeat of Usyk having the confidence from the first fight and being a tricky fighter, but you never know.
Joe, you said it there, you've been there. It's not easy to make that change. You get used to a routine and you make that change. You change your training team. You came over work with someone like Andy Lee. Do you think might be helpful for Anthony Joshua to do that and see what else is out there?
Yeah, listen, it's the best decision I made because I'm just happy. Happy learning, happy gaining different style, technique, and working on this and working on that. So I think it'll be very beneficial for him. And it's a hard move, but he's made that move. So we'll see who's going to link up with.
And the last one from me, Tyson is expected to be ordered to face Dillian White, your old ring foe, next year. That fight does happen. How do you see it playing out?
It'll be a good fight. Two British fighters, both at the top. Dillian always comes, prepared and ready, and he's always involved in exciting fights. And but I ultimately I see Tyson Fury coming out on top and winning and doing what he has to do to maintain the championship.
Well, Joe, I appreciate it. It's been a long old day of media, and you got camp to get back to, so thank you as always. Speaking of Boxing Social, I'm sure I'll catch you very soon.